nuclear weapons disposal facility on Shadow Moses Island in Alaska's Fox Archipelago was attacked and captured by next-generation special forces being led by members of Foxhound. They are demanding that the government turn over the remains of Big Boss, and they say that if their demands are not met within 24 hours, they'll launch a nuclear weapon. You will have two mission objectives. First, you're to rescue DARPA Chief Donald Anderson and the President of Armstech, Kenneth Baker. Both are being held as hostages. Secondly, you're to investigate whether or not the terrorists have the ability to make a nuclear strike and stop them if they do.
What's the insertion method?
We'll approach the disposal facility by sub.
And then?
We'll launch a one-man SDV. After the SDV gets as close as it can, dispose of it. From there on, you'll have to swim. High-Tech Special Forces Unit Foxhound, your former unit, and one that I was the commander of.
So they're still around.
There are 6 members of Foxhound involved in this terrorist activity. Psycho Mantis, with his powerful psychic abilities. Sniper Wolf, the beautiful and dead sharpshooter. Decoy Octopus, master of disguise. Vulcan Raven, giant and shaman. And Revolver Ocelot, specialist in interrogation and a formidable gunfighter. And finally, in charge of them, Foxhound squad leader, Liquid Snake.
Liquid Snake.
The nuclear weapons disposal facility covers the whole island. I'll instruct you by codec after you reach your target.
Anyone going with me?
As always, this is a one-man sneaking mission.
Weapons and equipment OSP.
Yes. This is a top-secret black op. Don't expect any official support.
Hey Leute, willkommen zu Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. Dem wahrscheinlich besten Weg, um Metal Gear Solid nochmal zu erleben. Das Spiel ist exklusiv für den GameCube erschienen und es handelt sich hier um einen wirklich, wirklich guten Remake des ersten Teils. Also des ersten Metal Gear Solid Teils, nicht des ersten Metal Gear Teils offensichtlich. Und, ja genau, wenn man nicht gerade diesen nostalgischen PlayStation-Look haben muss, dann ist das hier wirklich die empfehlenswerte Version. Ich verstehe nicht, warum die nicht wie bei Resident Evil. Dieses HD-Remake von Resident Evil war ja auch ein GameCube-exklusives Resident Evil damals und wurde dann Jahre später eben nochmal ein bisschen HD überarbeitet, aufgehübscht, nicht sehr viel Arbeit da drin anscheinend und dann für PC und alles mögliche rausgebracht. Warum man das nicht mit The Twin Snakes macht, verstehe ich nicht, aber wie dem auch sei. Wir starten jetzt mal. Und ich merke schon, das Spiel ist ziemlich laut. Ich muss es echt ein bisschen leiser noch drehen. So, ich hoffe, das geht jetzt eher. So, bevor wir jetzt überhaupt zu spielen anfangen, müssen wir uns jetzt erstmal das Briefing ansehen. Das sind optionale Cutscenes aus dem Menü, die aber für die Story eigentlich sogar relativ wichtig sind teilweise. Und deswegen schauen wir da jetzt mal rein. und ich bin wieder weg. Bis gleich.
It's been a long time, Snake.
I should have known you were behind this, Colonel.
Snake, straight to the point as always.
What do you want from me?
I just invited you here so we could have a talk.
Invited? That's what you call sending armed soldiers after me?
Sorry if they were a little rough with you, but we've got a serious situation here. Only you can get us out of it.
I'm retired from Foxhound. You're not my commander anymore, and I don't have to take orders from you or anyone else.
You will take these orders. I know it.
Excuse me.
Who's this?
Dr. Naomi Hunter, the unit's chief medic, an expert in gene therapy.
Are you military?
No, civilian. I've been sent here from ATGC. Pleasure to meet you, Snake. Don't worry, this injection won't hurt a bit.
Ugh. What's the shot for?
What's wrong? You don't like shots?
Snake, listen up. About 5 hours ago, an island in Alaska's Fox Archipelago called Shadow Moses Island was occupied by Special Ops soldiers.
What soldiers?
Next Generation Special Forces, led by members of Unit Foxhound. They've presented Washington with a single demand, and they say that if it isn't met, they'll launch a nuclear weapon.
A nuclear weapon?
I'm afraid so. You see, the island is the site of a secret nuclear weapons disposal facility.
Foxhound hijacking a nuclear weapon?
Now you understand how serious the situation is. You have two objectives. First, infiltrate the nuclear weapons disposal facility and rescue the two hostages. They are DARPA Chief Donald Anderson and Kenneth Baker, President of Armstech.
Those are some heavy-duty hostages.
Secondly, you're to investigate whether or not the terrorists have the ability to launch a nuclear strike and stop them if they do. Any questions, Snake?
Questions? I haven't even said whether I'd accept this mission.
Well, you can make up your mind after you hear more about the situation.
So, soweit so gut. Dann schauen wir uns mal die anderen Files auch noch an. Ich bin mir nicht mehr sicher, wie wichtig die sind. Doch, ich glaube schon. Das sind wichtige Hintergrundinformationen. Die gucken wir uns jetzt an. Ich habe es vorher gar nicht gesagt, weil ich es vergessen habe. Aber da zwischen der Vault-Aufseher-Folge von Zakorak, nämlich Shadow of the Colossus, und dem hier jetzt eine Lücke von einem Tag entstanden ist, wird das jetzt eine extra lange Doppelfolge, aber das wisst ihr wahrscheinlich schon, wenn ihr draufgeklickt habt und unten den Timecode seht. Deswegen können wir uns jetzt auch die Zeit nehmen, uns die ganzen Briefings anzuhören. Hören wir mal Infiltration Method.
Tell me about the nuclear weapon disposal facility.
The disposal facility includes a hardened underground base. Even with our most advanced intelligence gathering equipment, we can't tell what's happening inside.
So, someone needs to penetrate, gather intelligence, and report back. Sounds like a spy movie. What's the insertion method?
Well, an air insertion is impossible.
Not with this storm going on.
We'll approach the disposal facility by sub.
Approach?
Yes, within a few miles of it. The facility is equipped with sonar detection capabilities. They'd be able to hear our engine or propeller noise.
And then?
We'll launch a one-man SDV.
Launch?
Same as a torpedo. Only this has no propulsion device of its own. After the SDV gets as close as it can, dispose of it. From there on, you'll have to swim.
You want me to swim? in sub-zero Alaskan water.
Don't worry. That suit represents the latest advances in polythermal technology. The nuclear weapons disposal facility covers the whole island. I'll instruct you by codec after you reach your target.
Anyone going with me?
As always, this is a one-man sneaking mission.
Weapons and Equipment OSP.
Yes. This is a top-secret black op. Don't expect any official support.
Ein paar Textzeilen hiervon haben wir schon in dem Intro gehört, aber jetzt schauen wir mal. Oh, Time Limit, das ist neu. Okay, wir ziehen das jetzt durch. Wir gucken jetzt alles. Das gehört dazu. Dauert es so lange, wie es will. Das ist Teil
What's the time limit?
des Erlebnisses.
24 hours. They say they'll launch after 24 hours.
Do they say what the target will be?
So far, they haven't mentioned the target.
When did the countdown start?
5 hours ago.
Five hours ago. Da bleibt nicht viel Zeit. Okay, gut. Dann Pfeil 2, Operation Members. Ah, hören wir jetzt ein bisschen was über die einzelnen Personen. Ja, warum nicht? Ist doch cool. Die Story in dem Spiel ist nämlich echt gut. Wirklich gut. Wirklich, wirklich gut. Die hat mich damals echt geflasht und auch beim Gamecube wieder. Die Feinheiten, die ich nicht mehr wusste. Und ja, deswegen ist es wichtig, dass wir uns jetzt erstmal vorbereiten, damit wir auch verstehen, worum es geht.
Naturally, I'm representing the U.S. government.
So who's in supervisory control of this operation?
The President of the United States.
So there's a lot of crap hitting fans in the White House basement.
No. At this point, they're still video conferencing with each other.
If that's a real nuclear warhead, shouldn't they issue a COG?
Not yet. The Secretary of Defense has operational control and is fully aware of the situation. After you infiltrate, if you determine they possess nuclear launch capabilities, a COG will be issued.
Well, if they haven't relocated to the nuclear shelter under Mount Washington, I suppose there isn't that much reason to worry. Yet. Is the National Security Agency in on this?
Yes, and so is the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency.
The DIA? I'm starting to get a bad feeling about this.
They'll be sending us some support.
We don't need desk jockeys. We need a nuclear weapons specialist.
Of course. A nuclear weapons specialist has already been assigned to us.
Naomi ist anscheinend gegen Rauchen in ihrer Praxis oder so. Ich meine, die ist Ärztin. Selbstverständlich ist die gegen Rauchen. Dabei sind Zigaretten in dem Spiel nicht unwichtig.
I know. That's why I've requested the assistance of a military analyst named Nastasha Romanenko. She'll be providing you backup by codec.
A female analyst?
She's built up an impressive record as an advisor for the Nuclear Emergency Search Team. Contact her if you have any questions. She's also an expert on high-tech weapons.
Where's she working from?
Her home in Los Angeles.
California? California's a lot different than this place.
California. So, Roy Campbell. Hören wir mal über ihn ein bisschen was.
Colonel, you're retired. Why are you involved in this?
Because there aren't many people who know Foxhound as well as I do.
Is that the only reason?
I've been soldiering for a long time. I don't know anything else. I guess even though I'm getting a little old, I still love to be in the field.
Colonel, you're a lousy liar. Tell me the real reason.
Okay, Snake. Sorry. I'll be frank. A person very dear to me is being held hostage.
Who is it?
My niece, Meryl.
So, es geht also für ihn um was Persönliches. Nicht nur Atomsprengköpfe, Terroristen, sondern seine Nichte Meryl.
What was your niece doing there?
Several soldiers were reported missing the day of the revolt, and my niece was one of those called in as an emergency replacement.
She looks like you.
She's my little brother's girl. He died in the Gulf War, and since then I've been watching after her.
A personal motive, Colonel. That's not very soldierly.
I'm retired. I'm just an old man now. And I'm your friend.
Since when are we friends?
I've thought of us as friends since the fall of Zanzibar land.
Haven't you had enough of a moody bastard like me?
No. That's the part of you I trust. Please, Snake. Save my niece, Meryl.
All right. But I have two conditions.
Name them.
1. No more secrets between us. I want complete disclosure at all times. And 2, I'll only accept orders directly from you, Colonel. No cutoffs involved, okay?
Agreed. That's why I was called. But one thing.
What?
I'm not a colonel anymore. Just a retired old warhorse.
I understand, Colonel.
Diese Pose am Schluss, oder? Super. Okay, Dr. Naomi, lernen wir über sie auch noch ein bisschen was. Eine wichtige Figur für die Story später.
That doctor, is she part of this operation too?
She was in charge of Foxhound's gene therapy. She knows more about those men than anyone else.
So, she's used to seeing men naked.
Make no mistake, I'm not a nurse, I am a scientist.
By the way, what was that injection for?
It's a combination of nanomachines and an anti-freezing peptide so that your blood and other bodily fluids don't freeze, even at subarctic temperatures.
Nanomachines?
Not just one kind either. There are different types which will replenish the supply of adrenaline, nutrition, and sugar in your bloodstream.
Now I don't have to worry about food.
I also put some nootropics in there.
Say what?
Nootropics, a class of drugs which will help improve your mental functioning.
It'll make me smarter, huh? Anything else?
Yes. It's a type of stimulant. It'll keep you alert and responsive for 12 straight hours.
That was quite a cocktail. Anything else in there?
Those nanomachines will also keep your Codex batteries charged up.
I guess I can call you when I'm ready to go on a diet.
You're welcome.
Okay. So einen ultimativen Cocktail hätte ich auch gern. So, dann haben wir noch File 3, Detailed Informations. Hostages, die Geiseln. Wer genau sind sie?
The chief of DARPA and the president of an arms manufacturing company. What business did they have at a nuclear weapons disposal facility?
The truth is that secret exercises were being conducted at the time the terrorist group attacked.
Must be extremely important exercises if those two were directly involved. Were they testing some kind of new advanced weapon?
I'm not privy to that information.
Do we know exactly where they're being held?
The DARPA chief has also been injected with a mini-transmitter. As you get closer, you should be able to pick up his location on your radar.
Okay, das war kurz und schmerzlos. Kommen wir zum Nuclear Warhead. Oder den Heads.
Do they really have the ability to launch a nuclear missile?
They say they do. They even gave us the serial number of the warhead they plan to use.
Was the number confirmed?
I'm afraid so. At the very least, they've got their hands on a real nuclear warhead.
Isn't there some kind of safety device to prevent this type of terrorism?
Yes. Every missile and warhead in our arsenal is equipped with a PAL, which uses a discrete detonation code.
PAL?
Permissive Action Link. The safety control system built into all nuclear weapon systems. But even so, we can't rest easy.
Why not?
Because the DARPA chief knows the detonation code.
But even if they have a nuclear warhead, it must have been removed from its missile. All the missiles on these disposal sites are supposed to be dismantled. It's not that easy to get your hands on an ICBM.
That used to be true. But since the end of the Cold War, you can get anything if you can pay the money.
Okay, es sieht also so aus, als wären die Drohungen der Terroristen legitim. Also als hätten sie tatsächlich Zugang zu nuklearen Sprengköpfen. Schauen wir uns mal die anderen Waffen der Terroristen an.
How well armed are these terrorists? I know there was an exercise going on at the time they revolted.
They're heavily armed, I'm afraid.
What about their battle experience?
The 6 in charge are plenty tough. After all, they're foxhound people.
Hey, you're gonna make me blush.
The others are next-generation special forces. They're not your average grunts either.
Okay, wir haben es also mit ultimativen Super-Elite-Truppen zu tun. Das ist nicht gut. Was wollen die Terroristen eigentlich?
So what exactly are they demanding?
A person's remains.
Remains?
That's right. To be more accurate, cell specimens which contain the individual's genetic information.
Cell specimens? Why would they want that?
The terrorists need them. You see, these next-generation special forces have been strengthened through gene therapy.
Genes? Strengthened?
You've heard of the Human Genome Project. They've been mapping the human genome and they're nearly finished. Following up on this research, the military has been working towards identifying those genes which are responsible for making effective soldiers.
There are genes that do that?
Yes, and using gene therapy, they're able to transplant those genes into regular soldiers.
Gene therapy?
I'll explain this part. With gene therapy, it becomes easy to remove genes that cause sickness and disease, or, alternatively, to splice in additional genetic material.
In other words, we can overcome all sorts of genetic diseases and at the same time add genetic characteristics as desired.
Okay, and so if you knew what genes were responsible for making the perfect soldier, you could implant them in the same way, right?
Yes, we could.
But it all depends on being able to isolate and identify those soldier genes.
And in order to do that, it's helpful if you can study the genetic information of one of the greatest soldiers ever.
Jeans. Also wenn ich das richtig verstanden habe, dann wollen die Hosen die Soldaten zu Supersoldaten machen. Jeans. Wahrscheinlich Blue Jeans. Und die wollen die splicen, damit jeder ein Stückchen von der Blue Jeans kriegt. Und dann werden alle super awesome oder so ähnlich. Das erinnert mich ein bisschen an den Plot von Killer Kill. Okay. Genetische Gentherapie-Stärkung. Los geht's.
One of the greatest ever.
The man they called the greatest warrior of the 20th century.
You don't mean Big Boss?
That's right. We've been working feverishly to identify the genes responsible for his incredible combat skill. So far, we've discovered about 60 of the so-called soldier genes.
So his body was recovered after all.
Yes, and his cells have remained frozen in a cryochamber. His genetic information is a priceless treasure to mankind.
Priceless to the military, perhaps.
His body was burned severely, but it was possible to restore his DNA profile from just a single strand of his hair.
Oh, heck, it's like some kind of dinosaur theme park. And you're gonna put these genes into soldiers?
Yes. We'll use a process that I discovered called gene targeting. The strongest soldiers don't become what they are by acquiring their skills through training or experience. We now know that hereditary factors are far more crucial for creating superior soldiers.
Snake can't hand over his body. It's more strategically important than any weapon of mass destruction.
I hear the terrorists are calling themselves the Sons of Big Boss.
The Sons of Big Boss.
The Sons of Big Boss. Übrigens ist vielleicht wissenswert, dass im Original Metal Gear früher, das auch für den NES kam, aber da nicht in so einer guten Version wie die Originalversion, was wollte ich sagen? Ach so, genau. Da wird eben Solid Snake, unser Protagonist hier, losgeschickt, um Big Boss umzubringen. Und schafft das auch. Er verbrennt ihn am Schluss mit einem Molotow-Cocktail oder irgendwas selbst gebastelten, MacGyver-mäßigen. Und darüber reden die gerade. Und Big Boss ist der ultimative Supersoldat. Später in den vielen, vielen Nachfolgern, die nach dem ersten Metal Gear kommen, wird das alles noch viel genauer erläutert und sowas. Aber das ist so die Information, die wir zu dem Zeitpunkt, als das Spiel rauskam, hatten im Grunde. Die uralten, ich weiß gar nicht, war das ein Atari-Spiel oder ein C64-Spiel oder auf welchem System kam das Original Metal Gear? Ich weiß es nicht. Auf jeden Fall das Zeitalter. So, okay. Jetzt haben wir noch Sondereinheit der nächsten Generation.
Tell me about these next-generation special forces.
They started out as an anti-terrorist special ops unit, made up of former members of biochem units, technical escort units, and the nuclear emergency search team. Their purpose was to respond to threats involving next-generation weapons of mass destruction, including NBC weapons.
Until they were added, that is.
Who's they?
These guys didn't start out as regular army.
Looks like a pretty international group. Mercenaries?
Yeah, and it gets worse. Most of them were from a merc agency that I think you're familiar with. They were part of Big Boss's private guard. And after Big Boss went down, the military just bought out all their contracts.
Outer heaven.
After that, they were merged with our own VR unit Force 21 and retrained. If you ask me, these so-called next-generation special forces should be called simulated soldiers. They have no real battle experience.
Soldiers of the video game generation, huh?
Don't forget they've all been strengthened with gene therapy. They carry genes which make them excellent soldiers. Don't get careless just because they don't have much experience.
I thought international law banned the military use of genetic therapy.
Yes, but those are just declarations, not actual treaties.
The interesting thing is that nearly every member of the unit conspired in this attack.
Okay, so viel dazu. Dann der Grund für die uneingeschränkte Zustimmung. Ich weiß nicht genau, was das bedeutet, aber schauen wir uns das mal an.
How can an entire unit be subverted to rebellion?
They're calling it a revolution.
Since they all went through the same gene therapy, they probably felt closer than brothers. They see the unit as their only family.
The sons of Big Boss. But if they were regular army, they must have been interviewed periodically by army counselors.
According to their files, they all got straight A's on their psychological tests. They all seemed like fine, upstanding, patriotic soldiers.
But they all took part in the uprising?
No. Several people didn't show up on the day of the exercise. That's why there was a resupply of troops.
Was there any sign recently that something might be wrong?
There was a report a month ago that they were acting strangely.
Apparently they consulted classified information about the soldier genes and performed their own gene therapy experiments.
They can do that, even without you?
Well, our gene therapy process is almost completely automated. And besides that, they're all geniuses with IQs over 180.
Even the existence of this genome army is a national secret of the highest order. We had been hoping to investigate this thing quietly, deal with it behind closed doors.
Okay. Und zum Schluss noch Foxhound. Die Spezialeinheit.
High-Tech Special Forces Unit Foxhound, your former unit, and one that I was the commander of. An elite group combining firepower and expertise. They're every bit as good as when I was commanding them.
So they're still around.
There are 6 members of Foxhound involved in terrorist activity. Psycho Mantis, with his powerful psychic abilities. Sniper Wolf, the beautiful and deadly sharpshooter. Decoy Octopus, master of disguise. Vulcan Raven, giant and shaman. And Revolver Ocelot, specialist in interrogation and a formidable gunfighter.
Sounds like a bunch of cartoon characters.
And finally, in charge of them, Foxhound Squad Leader, Liquid Snake.
Liquid Snake?
Yes. And you're the only person who can stand against him.
Schön, oder? Wie er kurz den Faden verliert und nachschauen muss, wie die anderen heißen. Oh, wir haben noch eine extra Information zu Liquid Snake. Ich hoffe so, dass der noch für Smash Brothers angekündigt wird. Schauen wir mal.
Liquid Snake.
Liquid Snake. The man who shares your code name. The solid versus the liquid.
Tell me what you know.
He fought in the Gulf War as a teenager, the youngest person in the SAS. His job was to track down and destroy mobile Scud missile launching platforms. You were there too, I believe. Didn't you infiltrate western Iraq with a platoon of Green Berets?
I was just a kid myself back then.
The details are classified, but it seems that originally he penetrated the Middle East as a sleeper for the SIS.
He was a spy for the British Secret Intelligence Service?
But he never once showed his face in Century House. He was taken prisoner in Iraq, and after that there was no trace of him for several years. After you retired, he was rescued and became a member of Foxhound.
I thought that by the time I left, they were no longer using code names.
I don't know his real name. That information is so highly classified that even I can't look at it. Here's a photo of him. Pretty shocking, huh? His skin tone is different, but otherwise, you two are exact duplicates.
I have a twin?
I don't know the details, but it seems so. That's why we really need you for this mission.
You're the only one who can beat him. Now that I've met you, I know. You've got something that he doesn't.
Why don't I find that thought more comforting?
So, jetzt wissen wir auch über Liquid Snake Bescheid. Den Anführer der Terroristen und ein perfektes, fast Duplikat von Solid Snake. Oh, was ist denn jetzt? Okay, da kommt noch was. Ich habe ganz sicher...
What are you going to do?
Don't worry. Just gonna clean myself up a little.
Huh?
I don't want to be mistaken for the leader of the terrorists.
Ah, er schneidet sich die Haare, damit er sich mehr von Liquid unterscheidet. Und das erklärt auch, warum seine Frisur ein bisschen anders ist, als in den Cutscenes gerade. Na gut, dann starten wir jetzt ein neues Spiel. Wir haben noch ein paar Minuten. Machen wir noch und starten wir noch.
Stay alert. He'll be through here. I know it. I'm going to swat down a couple of bothersome flies.
Ende. Ach so.
This is Snake. Colonel, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. What's the situation, Snake?
Looks like the elevator in the back is the only way up.
Just as I expected. You'll have to take the elevator to the surface, but make sure nobody sees you. If you need to, contact me by codec. The frequency is 140.85. When you want to use the codec, push the pause button and then the A button. When we need to contact you, the codec will beep. When you hear that noise, press the pause button and then the A button to receive the call. The codec's receiver directly stimulates the small bones of your ear. No one but you will be able to hear it.
Got it. Okay, I'm ready to go.
Aber dein Reden hört man trotzdem. Snake. Also der funktioniert über Gedankenkontrolle. So, jetzt schauen wir mal, wie die Steuerung funktioniert. Da kann ich mich nicht mehr so genau erinnern. So, ein der größten Unterschiede zwischen der Originalversion und der Gamecube-Version, abgesehen von der Grafik offensichtlich, und oh, Pfütze. Und den Cutscenes, ist der First-Person-Modus. Und der vereinfacht das Spiel schon ganz schön. Muss man sagen. Denn damit kann ich jetzt zum Beispiel das hier machen. Und daneben schießen. Aber ihr wisst was, oder? Ich glaube, ich hab meinen Punkt gemacht. Das ging halt eigentlich früher nicht. Und das ist natürlich ein Riesenunterschied. Warte mal, kann man den nicht irgendwie dazu bringen, dass die Sachen fallen lassen oder so? Ich sollte nicht meine ganze Munition verschießen. Aufhören! Naja, gut. Lassen wir das. Dann gehen wir, bevor die wieder aufwachen, nämlich.
Snake, there's an elevator there you can take up to the ground. You'll just have to wait for the elevator to come down. You'd better hide somewhere.
Aber muss ich den nicht vorher rufen? Fragezeichen. Ach, come on. Dauernd dieses Schießen. Aha, okay.
It's Snake. I'm in front of the disposal facility.
Excellent, Snake. Age hasn't slowed you down one bit.
How's that sneaking suit working out?
I'm nice and dry, but it's a little hard to move.
Bear with it. It's designed to prevent hypothermia. This is Alaska, you know.
Take it easy. I'm grateful. If it weren't for your suit and your shot, I would have turned into a popsicle out there.
An anti-freezing peptide, Snake. All of the genome soldiers in this exercise are using it.
I see. I'm relieved to hear that. Already tested, huh? By the way, how's the diversionary operation going?
2 F-16s just took off from Galena and are headed your way. The terrorist radar should have already picked them up.
A hind ID. Colonel, what's a Russian gunship doing here?
I have no idea, but it looks like our little diversion got their attention. Now's your best chance to slip in unnoticed.
Oh yeah.
There are only 18 hours left until their deadline. You've got to hurry.
Wow, he must be crazy to fly hind in this kind of weather.
Who's that?
Oh, sorry. I haven't introduced you two yet. This is Mei Ling. She was assigned to us as our visual and data processing specialist. She designed your codec, as well as your Soliton radar system. Contact her if you have any questions about either of them.
Nice to meet you, Snake. It's an honor to speak to a living legend like yourself. What's wrong?
Nothing. I just didn't expect a world-class designer of military technology to be so... cute.
You're just flattering me.
No, I'm serious. Well, I know I won't be bored for the next 18 hours.
What's this? I'm being hit on by the famous Solid Snake? But I'm surprised. I didn't think you'd be so frank.
Looks like we both have a lot to learn about each other.
It does, doesn't it? Well, let's get to know each other better. But first, let me explain about your Soliton radar system. The bright dot in the middle is you, Snake. The red dots are your enemies, and the blue cone shape represents their field of vision.
Be careful, Snake. The genome soldiers have highly developed senses of hearing and vision due to their gene therapy. Make sure you don't let them see you.
First, I want you to infiltrate the disposal site and look for the DARPA chief.
The DARPA chief was injected with the same GPS transmitting nanomachines as you.
He should appear on your radar as a green dot.
Get whatever information you can from him about the terrorists. If he's alive, that is.
Snake, your radar isn't affected by the weather, but if you're discovered by an enemy, you won't be able to use it.
Yes, it gets jammed easily, I'm afraid.
Yes, it's all made from currently existing technology. You won't be able to use it in an area with strong harmonic resonance, so be careful.
We'll be monitoring your movements by radar, so contact us by codec anytime you want.
Got it. I'll call if I'm feeling lonely.
Seriously, Snake. We're here to back you up, so call if you need some information or advice.
I'm also in charge of your mission data. Contact me if you want me to save your current status. My frequency is 140.96. It's a dedicated frequency for saving data. Don't forget it.
Remember, except for your binoculars, you need to arm yourself with whatever weapons you can find.
I remember. First I'm strip searched by Dr. Naomi here, and then all my weapons are taken away. Imagine yourself put in that position.
Well, if you make it back in one piece, maybe I'll let you do a strip search on me.
I'll hold you to that, Doctor. By the way, sorry to disappoint you, but I did manage to smuggle out my smokes.
How did you do that?
In my stomach. Thanks to the shot you gave me that suppressed my stomach acids.
Cigarettes? How are those going to help you?
You never know.
Ach Gott.
If you want to get in, there's the front door. It's the fastest way, but there's too much risk of being spotted by the enemy.
Yeah, I can't just knock on the door and ask them to let me in.
What about the air duct near the door?
One sentry on the left, and one on the right. They're armed with 5.56ers and pineapples.
There should also be a duct on the second floor.
I can't see it from here.
I'll let you decide the best COA. I'm counting on you, Snake.
So, na gut, wunderbar. Leute, dann würde ich aber jetzt mal sagen, dass wir hier Schluss machen für heute und morgen geht's dann eigentlich erst so richtig los. Danke fürs Zusehen und bis dann. Ciao.